Hello everybody and welcome back to All the Mods 10. In the previous episode, we set up our first mob farm, which has been producing an absolute ton of items for us. And I've just had it running in the background for a while. By the way, I did change this system here. Where did my door go? There was a door here. I just realized it was gone. Anyway though, I did change how our experience is sort of set up. So I've just built out these jumbo tanks, which are just crafted with 4 singularity tanks. These are the tanks that we were already using. So we just converted a few of those and then built some new ones. These are fairly cheap. It just requires quite a lot of glass. But yeah, each of these can store about 1,000 buckets of experience. And we have 6 here as sort of our backup, and then we have 1 here. This is where we can actually pull XP out of the tank. And this will be useful when we actually get into our sort of late game enchanting. We're going to need a ton of experience for that. Also, in between episodes, I have done a little bit of changes here. So you might notice that the tree farm is gone. We'll be building a different kind of tree farm in the future, one that's going to be a little bit more sustainable. And I've also modified the terrain here and cleaned up our sort of mine colonies build thing that was right here. And then I just built out these sort of platforms. This is mostly for decoration, but I do want to eventually build something right here. I've also moved the mining bore over here. This is mostly retired at this point, but I did actually add a setup here that is just sort of in our applied energistic system. It's sort of linked up with that, where it basically just pulls all of the items except for redstone torches and powered rails out of here. Also, speaking of mine colonies, I did have I think it's called a supply ship. So I just put it over here. It does allow you to choose the design, and I liked this one the best, so I just put it out here in the water. I'm not going to use it for anything, I don't think. But it does look nice. I probably should have gone for more of a riverboat style, but you know, I just thought about that. So that should be fine though. I think this might connect to the ocean eventually. Probably not though. So from where we are currently in our playthrough, there are an absolute ton of routes that we can go down. We can go into sort of more machines, we could get into more magic, we could even start resource generation. And even with resource generation, there are a couple of paths that we can go down. Now, I've used mystical agriculture in the past. It's an extremely powerful mod that allows you to generate pretty much any resource. But I think I want to try something different. I want to go with the productive bees mod this time around. I actually have not touched this mod since before bees were added to Minecraft. So there's going to be a ton of different changes. I'm sure this entire mod has been changed since I last played it. So I think it's a good time to actually figure out how that mod works, gather a ton of resources in the process. So if you're as excited as I am to get started with bees, hit the like button and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton and lets me know that you guys are interested in bees. And if you want to go one step further, why not consider becoming a channel member? It's the best way to support me directly, and you get access to all of my videos early. With all of that out of the way, let's get started with productive bees. Fortunately, this mod pack does have a quest line that we can sort of follow and actually, you know, figure out what all can be produced. As you can see down here at the bottom, this is pretty much every single material that can be actually produced from the bees. You'll notice that we can get a ton of variety of items, from ingots to quartz, and looks like even sugar cane. And I'm pretty sure we can even get every single type of log. It looks like to get started, we are going to need to craft 4 bee cages. These will actually allow us to pick up bees. This style of bee cage is one use only, so they can't be used again after you place the bee outside of them. By the way, in the world, you can find these sturdy bee cages, which are reusable, but as far as I can tell, they're actually not craftable as of right now. But we can go ahead and craft some bee cages. These are just going to require bottles of honey, which I guess I've already gotten before. I'm not sure from where, but here we go. We get the quest from that. We do get a sturdy bee cage from that. So in order to actually find the different types of bees that are going to be throughout the world, we're going to need to craft the nest locator. This is just going to be using a few gold nuggets, note block, and some iron bars. Here we go. There's our note block. And just need to craft a few gold nuggets. And here we are. By the way, I do think that we're going to need shears for this. I'm not 100% certain, but I am going to take some with me. So, I'm just going to right-click with the nest locator. And it looks like it can't find any bee nests near me. Of the type bee nest. Maybe we need to shift right-click this? I see. Shift right-click on a block of the same type as the nest you are looking for. So I'm looking for the regular oak ones. Here we go. A nest was located 79.64 meters that way. Which way is that way? Interesting. So it looks like it's going to be in this direction. And it should be right around here. So we should see an oak nest somewhere in here. Ah, there it is, right there. Nice. Okay, so I might be jumping the gun just a little bit. So I actually want to go down this path real quick here. So we're going to need to craft a regular beehive, which will require honeycomb. Fortunately, we have already found some honeycomb before, so that should be all that we need for that quest. There we go. Next up is the advanced beehive. It looks like this one can be crafted into basically any sort of wood type. So let's go advanced beehive. And I'm looking for the oak one. Here we go. Advanced oak beehive. We are going to need a campfire and some more logs for this, or planks. Campfires are pretty easy to craft, so we should now be able to craft our oak. Advanced. Here we go. Just like that. Nice. And we can go ahead and claim our rewards from that. And now we need to craft the honey treats. These are made with honeycomb and honey blocks. Alternatively, you can use pollen puffs and honeycomb. These pollen puffs are from the Bumble Zone mod, and you'll basically be able to find pollen in the world. The Bumble Zone is a new dimension that's focused all around bees. And so now we should be able to craft a few honey treats and claim our reward from that, which gives us a few more honey treats. So to actually attract bees to these nests, we need to use the honey treat on the nest. You just right click and you'll notice that it's going to take 1200 seconds to actually repopulate. There is definitely a reason that I'm starting this mod so early, and that's just because it takes a ton of time. You can also just get lucky and find a bee of a certain type in the overworld. That's what I'm kind of doing right now, just sort of flying around hoping to find a bee. And it looks like I found some vanilla bees. These can also, I believe, be captured in the bee cages. Oh, that one went inside there. And I might as well just take these bees with me. I want an area for pretty much every single bee anyway, so we can go ahead and shear that. And there is one bee inside. We might be able to wait for him to come out. If not, I think... Does this work? I think we can do this if you just... shift right click maybe? Hold on. I think because we have this mod that places sticks, we can't do this. Maybe we left click. No. I don't know. I'm just going to silk touch it and take it back home with me. By the way, we can actually craft the different types of nests with just a log of that type. Plus, it looks like a sword. I'm not sure what the sword is for, but there we go. And I actually have not found most of the wood types, surprisingly. That's definitely something that I want to go out and do. So we might as well do that while we're looking for bees. And to make finding these different biomes just a little bit easier, we are going to use a nature's compass, which is just crafted with 4 saplings, 4 logs, and a compass. Not too bad. So what we do with this is we just right click it and we can search here at the top for what biome that we want to find. I want to find a spruce biome. That one should work. Start a search. And it looks like there's one about 3,000 blocks in that direction. I'm also going to bring a sleeping bag with me just because I feel like I'm going to be on quite a long journey here. And I think this is the furthest from my base that I've been. I just turned invisible. I think I'm going too fast. Oh, this is kind of a nice little biome. It's an allium shrubland. So these are just giant alliums. That's kind of cool. And I completely forgot to bring waystones with me. Hopefully we can find some while we're out exploring. I crafted about 10 of them and just left them at home. Now, we've actually already found spruce before, but what we can do is just, here we go, shift right click on a spruce log, and there should be a nest somewhere here. And if there are no nests here, by the way, we can just place down a nest that we've already made. We made this one just a little bit ago. And if we give it a honey treat, that will actually start the cooldown again. So bees actually require the biome that they sort of grow up in order to actually appear here. So in order to get the yellow carpenter bee and green carpenter bees, we need to be in an oak biome. Although for this nest specifically, for the oak one, it works in any overworld biome. I'm curious if the spruce one does. Oh, okay. The spruce one actually does work in any biome as well. Oh, dark oak. We are still going to need to find dark oak and birch. Oh. Is it the same for all of them? I think it might be. The cherry one doesn't have any information on it. That's interesting. Same with mangrove. Bamboo, nothing. Stone, here we go. Stone will also work in any overworld biome. I'm assuming dirt. The sand one, though, does need to be in a desert. I'm assuming snow. Snow must be in a cold biome. Gravel must be placed in a river or beach biome. And I think the reed just needs to be in a river biome. Oh, reed doesn't need to be in... Okay, interesting. What about the slime? Must be placed in a swamp. Okay. So essentially we're looking for a desert, snowy, and swampy biomes. So I am kind of curious on whether I can just pick this up if it'll keep the cooldown, or if I just sort of wasted our honey treat with that. Looks like there was a village just here to my north. Hopefully there's a waystone here. They just have a pile of resources. Huh. Interesting. Do you guys have a waystone by chance? I'm not seeing one. It's getting a little laggy over here. Ah, here we go. Azok Cloder. Interesting name. Yeah, we can just quickly return, and I basically know where a desert is. We just have one right over these sort of spikes. This is a rugged badlands. Here we go. This part's a desert. Let's see, where was that? This was a Mojave desert. I don't know where that went. I flew right over it. Here we go. Right here is a desert. Nope, not right there. Uh-oh. I lost it again. Right here? Right here is a desert. So with a wooden sword and a piece of sand, we can make a new nest here and just place it down. And when we come back later, this should hopefully have a bee inside. So while I'm waiting right now, and I'm back at my base, I'm just going to grab some poppies, and I'm going to get our advanced oak beehive sort of kind of set up, not in a permanent solution, but just sort of here. Now, I don't think that we need campfires for this version. I could be wrong, though, so I am going to place a campfire down anyway. Our advanced beehive on top, And here we go. So this is the basic interface for the beehives in the Productive Bees mod. Bees will go on the left-hand side here, and all of the items that they produce will appear in this box on the right. Now, this version does not allow for upgrades. I'm not sure which one will, but basically we can make it so that our bees will basically never actually have to leave the nest. It'll basically just simulate that they are still producing and everything. And I just double checked and verified, and I'm pretty sure that we don't need campfires for this one. I just took a look at the quest log, so here we go. We can build a little sort of nest for them here. So they will need an area for a flower to go, and in fact we actually need the feeding slab. I don't think that we need it for the flowers, but we will need it for some of the other things here. And I just want to sort of test this out and see if we need the feeding slab or if this will work. So I'm going to go ahead and just shift our regular bee into here. Oh, right, we can't do that because we don't have the other version. So we need to just place it inside our area here. It went right in, perfect. And let's see if I can get, let's see here, that one's high productivity. We'll talk about the productivity of the bees later. Here we go. And there we go, nice. So we should see all 3 bees inside of here. And in fact, all 3 of them have high productivity. That's pretty nice. So as time goes on and as the daylight cycles, these guys will not work unless they have the nocturnal feat, or gene, I suppose it's called in this. So you'll notice that it is pollinating the flower here. This is just a normal thing that normal Minecraft bees do. But the thing that is special about the advanced oak beehive is that any sort of item that they produce will appear here. So for these regular bees, I'm pretty sure all we're going to get is regular honeycomb. But we don't need to shear the actual beehive. We just let it gather here, and in fact we can even pipe it out into a chest and have it automatically go into our storage system. So yeah, in the time that it took me to turn off my air conditioner, we have produced 6 honeycombs. Nice. I also want to get some glass bottles inside of here because this will actually fill up with honey as well. So we can collect both honeycomb and honey, which are both going to be very crucial in this mod. Okay, I've found some jungle wood. I think we've already had jungle, but I'm going to grab that anyway. And here is finally some dark oak. I want to make sure to grab some saplings from these as well, because I really do like dark oak. It's probably one of the best, if not the best, vanilla wood. There we go. And here's some birch as well, and I immediately ran into a bee nest. That's kind of funny. I'll let that one just here. Gosh, that was a sound. So here's our dark oak nest, our birch nest, spruce nest, jungle nest, acacia tree, and our acacia nest. So I'm just going to place these all down here since they don't actually require a specific biome. And I just want to make sure, because I am a little bit limited on these honey treats, I think for now we need the spruce nest because that will produce resin bees. And we'll need, I think, let's see here, birch will produce both green and yellow carpenter bees. So I think I want to do birch as well. So we have spruce and birch. Dark oak can produce green carpenter bees, yellow carpenter bees, and also blue banded bees. And it looks like jungle only produces green carpenter bees, so this one's probably not super necessary. And it looks like acacia also only produces blue banded bees, so again, probably not necessary if you already have dark oak. But yeah, I'm just going to be having pretty much most of these on cooldown, just producing bees. And speaking of bees, let's see if I can find this bee that's over here. It looks like we have an inhabitant, a green carpenter bee. So I think now we might be able to hit it with a stick. Yep. Oh, it got angry though. Oh crap. Uh-oh. I don't want it to sting me because I don't want it to die. I forgot my bee cages. Nope. No, I didn't. They're right on my hotbar. Dang it. Okay, so note to self, that will actually make the bee angry. There we go. We got it. Nice. And I don't think it's angry at me now because its eyes turned back to regular. But I think while I'm sort of working on gathering bees, I'm just going to place a barrel down here, and this is just going to be full of all of my bees. Oh, and I see another bee over here. This is a nomad bee. Interesting. I'll take it. I don't know if we need nomad bees for anything. In fact, we can actually look up nomad. Let's see here. Nomad uses for the nomad bee. We can actually use it to make, oh, the silicon bee and a blaze bee. Okay, interesting. I don't think it produces anything on its own. I think it's just like a regular bee. So this mod is definitely a lot of waiting. So a key to being successful in this mod is actually just waiting and working on other things while you're sort of waiting for your bees to breed. If you're a little bit later into the game though, you can actually tick accelerate these blocks and get them moving a little bit faster. However, we're not at a point even close, even remotely close to tick acceleration. But while we're waiting on our wood bees, we can actually get started with our stone and other material bees. So we have the stone nest, a dirt nest, which somehow I don't have coarse dirt. There we go. Sand nest, which we already have. A snow nest, which I don't think I have any snow. And I don't currently have a way of making it, so I'll have to go out and find it. Let's see here. A gravel nest. A reed nest, which we actually already have one of. And a slimy nest. I think we have enough slime balls. In fact, let's just make a stack of slime blocks. And there we go, a slimy nest. So we can actually place our stone nest and our dirt nest here with the others. These don't require a specific biome to grow, so we'll just have these guys here and feed them a little treat. And the same goes for the reed nest as well, but I'm not too sure because this one looks a little bit different. And in fact, I think that this one needs to be placed on sugarcane. I could be wrong about that. Let's give this a try though. So there we go, some sugarcane. And I'll just place this in the corner there. Oh right, it probably just needs water next to it. So let's give that another try with just water. There we go. So yeah, it doesn't need to be placed on sugarcane, but there we go. And let's give that a treat. And now I'm looking for a beach biome, which is right here. So we can go ahead and place, I believe it was the gravel one. There we go. And last up, we are just going to need to find a swamp. There we go, swamp. And I think that one should do. And the nearest one is 2,500 blocks away. Oh wow, and I found another one of these like resource clusters. Not too bad. This would be definitely something nice to find early game. Oh, and this structure kind of looks like an end city, but in the overworld. Oh, and there's a castle here. Oh, cool. I think I've actually found one of these in one of my hardcore worlds. Nice. Alright, I'm just a little ways away from the swamp now. I should be seeing it any moment now. And this is the weirdest looking swamp I think I've ever found before. It's just kind of on the side of a cliff here. Does it extend all the way down? It's kind of a weird one. Anyway, though, we can still place down our slimy nest here and give it a little honey treat. Here we go. And I'm going to load this chunk. Let's see. Here we go. That way it will actually keep on ticking while I'm away. We can just call this swamp. Oops, swammo. There we go. And yeah, after I think that's like 10 minutes, something like that, it should actually produce a bee. Oh, and here is our first bee from this area here. I was just placing down a door and it popped out. Nice. So I want to grab a bee cage for it, and this is a yellow carpenter bee. Nice. So that makes 3 bees collected so far. And unfortunately, it looks like we found another yellow carpenter bee. And it looks like it came out of the spruce nest and the birch nest. It looks like we definitely want to get the spruce nest back up because it does have a chance of creating a resin bee. Oh, and it looks like our sand nest made a chocolate mining bee. Interesting. Okay. By the way, the sand nest has a chance of making either an ashy mining bee or the chocolate mining bee. Oh, and it looks like we have a blue banded bee and another yellow carpenter bee, but yeah, we got the blue banded. Nice. Honestly, this kind of feels like hunting for specific Pokemon. I get super excited whenever I find a new one. It's kind of nice and relaxing, actually, just sitting here and vibing and waiting for bees to appear. So I think that was the rare spawn from the dark oak nest. The blue banded bee was. So we shouldn't need to take that one back online. We should just be able to wait for the other ones to go. Let's hear the acacia. I think produced the. Oh, maybe. Oh, I think it was actually the acacia that produced the blue banded bee. Okay, nice. So the jungle nest should guarantee us the green carpenter, which should be the last of the wood type bees that we need. Other than the ones from the reed nest, which can produce either the mason bee or the reed bee. I think we can get mason bees from from the stone nest as well. All right, and I'm hoping that this is considered in a frozen or a cold biome. I think this is an ice spikes. Yep, here we go, ice spikes. It's not very spiky, but I guess this little patch here is. So I'll go ahead and place down my snow nest. And, oh, I think I might have forgot to bring a treat, but that's all right. I should be able to craft one. There we go. Right click that. And we'll just get a waystone down. And returning to the base, it does look like we got our green carpenter bee now. Nice. And we have about 10 seconds before the dirt and stone nests produce, so we might as well wait and see what we get from those. There we go. It looks like we got another chocolate mining bee, and I'm not sure what that other one is. Let's see. Yep, chocolate mining and, oh, a digger bee. Nice. Oh, and here is our first mason bee. Nice. All right, and we should see a slimy bee appear now. Nice. I believe this nest can only produce the slimy bees. Oh, I think that's a resin bee. Let's see. Nice, there we go. I believe that was the last of the wood type ones, so I've just removed all of the nests here. And we're just waiting for the dirt nest and the stone nest. And I believe the sand one and the one that's on the beach behind me there. Oh, and we just still need the reed bee as well. Oh, I see a bee inside of here. Kind of looks frozen. Here we go. Ashy mining. Do I have this one? I can't remember if I do. Nope, that was definitely a new one. Nice. Which means I can actually take down that gravel nest as well because we've gotten all 3 of these bees. And I completely forgot to actually chunk load this one. So unfortunately it has not been actually working. Alright, this one's gonna take a little bit longer. And unfortunately we got another chocolate mining bee here, so we're gonna have to redo this sand nest here. Oh, and it does look like we got our reed bee. Nice. I believe that's the last bee that we needed. Let me just double check with that. So we're still waiting on the dirt nest to produce a leaf cutter bee. as well as the snow nest to produce a, let's see, a sweat bee. And I thought we were also waiting on an ashy mining bee from the sand nest, but we already have some, so I guess we're just waiting on the leafcutter bee, which hopefully shouldn't be too long. By the way, while I'm waiting, I can go through and complete our quests here that we've done. So we've gotten all of the nests. Here we go. And there we go, nice. We also have the cherry, mangrove, and bamboo nests. I don't know why they want us to craft these ones, but yeah, we can get a little bit of experience for that, but it's not necessary for the quest. Ah, dang it. It looks like this nest has produced an ashy mining bee. We're gonna have to wait another 20 minutes. Alright, so I made a few additional nests here, and we're about 2 seconds away from this one. Is that the one we were looking for? Oh, it actually is. Nice, we got our last bee from the overworld. Here we go. So yeah, like I said, that's the last bee from the overworld. But we can actually find bees in the other dimensions as well, namely the nether and the end. And the way that some of these nests work is a little bit different than how it works in the overworld. We're going to actually need to feed the nest a little bit of a certain type of item depending on which nest we're using. So for example, to get a glowing bee inside of the glowstone nest, we need to actually feed it with glowstone dust, I think, as well as the treats as well. Not 100% certain on that. We'll test that out in a little bit. For the soul sand nest, let's see, we need to feed it a gas tier, and from that we'll get a ghostly bee. Quartz one gives us a quartz bee if we give it quartz. The nether gold nest gives us gold bees, and the nether brick nest gives us magmatic bees. So I'll craft the glowstone nest, a soul sand nest. The quartz nest will require nether quartz ore, or alternatively what you can do is combine a little bit of netherrack with some nether quartz, which we're actually out of, so I'll have to go and craft that one inside of the nether. So now we have the nether quartz nest, and fortunately we do have a couple of gas tiers, but not too many. These can be crafted a few different ways. Namely, we can use the catalyzing glands that drop from creepers, and we can craft them into gas tiers. So I'm just going to silk touch some nether quartz here, and hopefully I can find some nether gold ore as well. Here we are. Oh. The flight with this jetpack is a little bit weird, but there we are. And by the way, we do need an iron sword for the quartz nest, and a diamond sword. Make sure that's not using my main sword for the nether gold nest. So I'll go ahead and place down our new nests. We have the soul sand nest, glowstone, let's see, our quartz nest, and the nether gold. I believe that was all of them. Oh, and the nether brick nest. Almost forgot that one. So to get bees started in the nether, all we're going to need to do is right-click the appropriate block onto the nest, and that will actually just go ahead and get it started. We actually don't need the treats at all, so that's good to note. Let's hear, this one needed gold ingots, I believe, and this one needed quartz, this one glowstone, and that one needed a gas tier. Nice. So these will all be cooking for just a little while here, and we can actually speed these up just a little bit. Oh, actually, surprisingly, we cannot speed these up. So these will take a little bit of time to actually process, which is kind of the name of the game with this entire mod. And of course, OBS messed up the recording of the last segment, but we have finally gotten all of the bees that we need. This will help us get started with actually producing materials from bees. But we're going to have to wait until the next episode because we are out of time for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.